Hey guys, today I'm going to be walking you through lesson 31A, Understand Properties of Shapes. So before we started our break, we talked a lot about finding the area and perimeter of squares and rectangles, as well as other shapes. We're moving in a different direction. We're going to be talking about properties. Okay, another word for properties would be features. So let's get into it. It says, think it through. How do sides and angles help you name shapes? So every one of us know that this is called a triangle, but we're going to be talking about the features of a triangle. So one way we can describe the shape is we can count the sides. It has three sides, one, two, three. It also has three angles. We have an angle here, here, and here. So three sides and three angles. And it says a shape with three sides and three angles is a triangle. Some shapes have sides with all different lengths. This is a four-sided figure, 1, 2, 3, 4. It also has four angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, but the lengths are all different. We have a short side, we have a long side, and then we have two sides that are kind of in the middle. Okay, so right away you should start seeing a trend of there however many sides there are, that's how many angles there are. So again, triangle, three sides, three angles. This one has four sides, four angles. This triangle over here is different than the one at the very top where it has two sides that are the same length. Can you guess which two sides are the same length in this triangle here? It would be side A and side B. This is a pentagon that has five sides. So if it has five sides, it has how many angles? Five angles. In this case, all the sides are the same length. So this side here, 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 and here, they are all the same length. So if this up here was 1 inch, they would all be 1 inch. The last picture on this page, they show a rectangle, which we've been talking a lot about. Rectangles have four sides and four angles, but we know the sides there's a long side, which we call the length. That would be side D, and side B would be the length, and the width would be A and C. So we have a long side and a short side. On the next page, it says, think, what are other ways to describe the angles of shapes? Well, angles that look like the corners of a square can be called square corners. So if you look at this rectangle right here, it actually has something called four square corners. Okay, these corners or these angles are square corners. Some might call them right angles. Okay, right angle, it almost looks like a perfect L shape, or in this case, it's the backwards L, but it's a perfect L shape. Or maybe a 90-degree angle. When you get into the older grades, those teachers will talk more about the degrees of the angles. But right now, let's just call them square corners. So in this case, the rectangle has four square corners. If I were to draw a square also has four square corners. This triangle here has only one square corner. It does have three angles, but one square corner. And a pentagon, which has five sides and five angles, in this case, two of the angles would be considered square corners. The last shape that they give you is a six-sided figure, which is called a hexagon. Six sides, six angles, and all the sides are the same length. Okay? So the one question that they ask you is, what are some ways you can describe shapes? Well, besides just giving the name of a shape like a triangle, a rectangle, a square, a hexagon, and a pentagon, we can describe by the lengths of their sides. We can describe how many sides they have, how many angles they have, and whether or not if they have square corners or not. So let's go on to the next page. Now we're going to be comparing two shapes. You know, we've talked about that word comparing before. It's how the shapes are alike and how are they different. So they're going to ask us a series of questions that have to do with this triangle here and this rectangle there. So number 2 says, which of the shapes shown has at least one square corner? Well, the triangle has one square corner and the rectangle has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 square corners. So for number 2, the answer should be triangle and rectangle. Number 3, which of the shapes shown has all square corners? Well, the triangle doesn't have all square corners, but the rectangle does have 4 square corners. Number 4, which of the shapes shown has some sides that are the same length? Okay, some sides. Well, with this triangle, I would say these two sides are the same length, and then it has a long side. With a rectangle, we know that opposite sides are the same length. So these would be the same, these would be the same. So for number 4, I would say the answer would be triangle and rectangle. Number 5, which of the shapes shown has opposite sides that are the same length? Well, the rectangle is the only shape that has opposite sides. So I would say for number 5, rectangle would be the correct answer. Down here, we have two new shapes. We have a rhombus and a triangle. We haven't talked much about a rhombus yet. A rhombus is kind of like a square, except or maybe a diamond shape, some might say. Looks like a square that's being pushed over. It's kind of leaning to one side. But a rhombus has 4 sides and 4 angles, and all the sides are the same length. Okay, and then we have this triangle, which looks very different when comparing it to that triangle. Okay, so number 6, which of the shapes shown below belongs to the group all sides are the same length? For number 6, the answer is rhombus. Rhombus is, in this case, would be the only one that has all sides the same length. Which of the shapes shown does not belong to this group? Well, the triangle would not belong to the group. The group all sides are the same length. Okay, number 7, which of the shapes shown belong to the group all sides are different lengths? Okay, if we were going to sort these two shapes into a group called all sides different lengths, I would say the triangle would be the correct answer for that one. And which one does not belong? The rhombus would not belong because all the sides are the same length. Number 8, name a different group that both the triangle and the rhombus belong to. Well, if we take a look here, what do they both not have that we've already talked about? We talked about square corners. Does the rhombus have any square corners? No, it does not. Does this specific triangle have any square corners? No, it does not. So we could actually say the answer for number 8. We could make up a group called no square corners because these two shapes would actually fit into that. Okay?